Jazzcast Pros.
I have a confession. This is something I've kind of been doing behind the scenes for a little while, but I haven't really talked about it. I've just kind of started actually sharing it with my friends. So I just wanted to share it on the podcast today because it's kind of been weighing heavy on me. You know, imposter syndrome shows up in all sorts of different ways. Welcome to High Vibe Table Talks, the podcast to help you, the cautiously ambitious woman, remove mental barriers and take action now so that you can achieve your high vibe desires. I'm Rashawn, your high vibe curator, cheerleader, and accountability partner. The growth journey can be a roller coaster ride filled with highs and lows, expectations and disappointments, fear of the unknown. But here at the High Vibe Table, we take big dreams and break them into small action steps that can transform your life. So my confession today, like I confess all the time. But what I wanted to talk about today is that I am actually looking for a job. I talk a lot on this podcast about being an entrepreneur, becoming an entrepreneur, going all in on your business. And in the season that I am, I need something else right now. It comes from a combination of places. And so I'm going to kind of talk about why, what I'm looking for, and what next could potentially look like. So first of all, it's like the why. You know, groceries are really expensive right now. Like, things are just really expensive. I booked the hotels for this summer. Last week, we're traveling for lacrosse tournaments, and I booked all of our hotels, and I just could not believe how expensive they were. Like, my budget for all of her camps this summer is almost equal to what we're going to be spending just on hotel fees. And so around the price of everything is also like the stability. And so having that paycheck every other week is just something that in this season, that peace of mind is really important for me. And so that kind of was pushing me in that direction as I started to explore, because part of me was like, maybe I just want a data entry type of job where I can open up my laptop, don't have to think all that hard. When my work is done, then I close my laptop and I'm good. And so I looked for a couple job positions like that, and I just, I'm so fulfilled in other areas of my life. Like, I love coaching. I love being on the sideline for my daughter's games. Like, I love my friend. I have great friends, great family. Like, there's so many other areas in my life where my cup is so full that what I need out of my 9 to 5 is less than that. While data entry sounds appealing right now when you're juggling everything, I definitely know that would not be something that would sustain me. It might be nice for 2 weeks, and then I may be pulling my hair out. So I started looking for a sales job. The imposter syndrome has showed up a lot during the season of trying to sell my sales course and struggling to sell. That's just been this friction that I've had. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of I struggle to sell it, and so that I get in my own head so that I don't put anything out there, so then I don't sell, which just confirms that I'm not, and so part of me looking for a sales job is gaining some confidence in the sales process back. Before, when I was selling software to car dealerships, that is a very hard sell. And so I feel like stepping into an area that is not that long sales cycle, it was 6 to 18 months, something that is a shorter sales cycle, more confirmation that I am good at sales. I know what I'm doing. I think is just, again, something that is something that I need in this season. And, when I left the Pilates studio, I remember when I took the job, I was like, oh, it checks all of these boxes. I can get my daughter off the bus every day. I'm, working with people who are moving their body. I have a great team. The owners are incredible. And so what I thought was this job that checked all these boxes, when I was actually in the weeds of managing the 2 studios, it just wasn't it, and it just was the energy vampire that were certain aspects of the job I realized were heavier than the boxes it did check. So then I left that job, and so it's really like understanding what you need within each season. And in this season, what I need right now is a stable paycheck. I need confidence that like I know what I'm doing. I am excited about being a part of a team again. That's been something that I have loved since I was a small kid. Like I was always participating in sports and I loved being on a team and having this group goal and working together as a team. Like that has always been something that's very motivating for me, both like in competition with myself, competition with the team competing against other people. As a coach right now in lacrosse and volleyball, that's something that's very big that is like very motivating for me. And so that again is something that I'm really looking for. Why I have struggled to talk about it, even with my friends and family, has been like the failure piece of it. But I was listening to a podcast last week and there was this guy on the podcast and he was talking about, well, this business is my third business. And like I don't want to say he like glossed over that fact, but it wasn't like, oh, these other two businesses that failed because I'm a terrible entrepreneur. It was like, oh, that just didn't work for X, Y, and Z. And not to say that High Vibe has been a failure at all, but just hearing from other people that like there can be seasons where it is right and there are going to be seasons where it's not. And again, High Vibe isn't like shutting down or going away. It's going to look different, but that's okay. And so again, like no ego or judgment or like negative connotation about moving into the next season where I have a 9-to-5 and am potentially growing High Vibe or letting High Vibe be what it is or whatever that looks like. And we'll get into more of that later. But there's nothing wrong about then changing the season that you're in. And again, it's not a failure. It's not a negative. It's just at its core, what do I need during this season? What is going to make me the most content? And I think that finding a 9-to-5 is part of it. Like my evenings and weekends are so busy that then I wake up and as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I have so much to do. And so then I go into like freeze mode where I don't do anything. And then I shame myself, and so it's a time where I'm like, okay, if I could wake up, go to a job, leave that job, go do my coaching and sporting things after work and create outside accountability and outside structure that would then give me pockets of like, okay, I need to do this because, I need to get up and get my walk in the morning because I have to be at the office at 7:30 so that I can be out by 4 so that, and it just creates these pockets of like, again, outside accountability, outside structure, which for me, again, with my ADHD, I think is very helpful. And so, I have shared this on this podcast multiple times. I interviewed Carly, and the idea behind her episode and her philosophy is making your 9-to-5 your angel investor. Again, that's kind of what I'm looking for in this next season is like giving me peace of mind for the hotel bills and any vacations and just all of the costs that continue to add up because life is life, and allowing them to like bring peace of mind to those things. I mean, it used to be hard for me to spend $100 at Aldi. Now I feel like I go there and I can't get out of there without spending less than $150, and I'm still going to Wegmans, which that like it just feels like groceries are just unfathomable along with gas, along with hotels, along with everything. But I mean, unless you're sleeping under a rock, I'm preaching to the choir. And so having peace of mind around those things and then allowing my business to like breathe and have some space to figure out what it looks like without the pressure is just something that I'm really craving in this moment. And so what will high vibe look like? This podcast is not going away. If anything, because I am hoping to step into a sales role, I'm excited to re-engage my sales energy and my sales exercises and my sales techniques and really bring that revitalized sales energy to this podcast. Actually, the job that I'm really hoping that I get during the interview was talking about the podcast, because on my resume, it has podcast host. I think there's a lot of things that as a podcast host make me a good candidate for, different roles. And so I have it on my resume. So this podcast is not going away. My sales course is not going away. Co-working on Wednesdays is probably going to have to change, whether it's the time. I don't know what my schedule is going to look like for whatever is next. So I'm going to have to work on that, but it's definitely not going away. And so things will still be there. They're just going to look a little bit different. So yeah, that's kind of what I see high vibe going for. But again, I'm going to give it some time to breathe. Again, when I was at my most structured and my most high vibe, I was getting up every morning and journaling and meditating and doing all the things that I know make me a better person, make me a better business owner, make me a better parent, make me a better spouse, all of those things. And I'm not building them at this moment. And so I'm really hoping that having a 9-to-5 or whatever those hours look like, having a job will force me into building that structure and I've talked about this a lot when I was working for Dealer Docs and selling, I was able to hit all my KPIs in a really efficient manner, which then gave me a lot of flexibility in my day. I remember having great weeks and spending a lot of time in my garden during the day because I had everything blocked out to do what I needed to do. And so if I needed some time to take a step back after cold calling, my reward would be go spend 30 minutes in the garden and get outside and get some sunshine and do all those sorts of things. So I'm hoping that this job affords that as well. I think anything new is going to take some time to ramp up to get there. I think the first 6 months is going to be a lot. Starting a brand new job during lacrosse season when my evenings and weekends are a lot as well is going to be an adventure. And I'm excited to share that adventure with you. I don't want anyone to feel part of why I wanted to share is I wanted people to feel seen during this process. And part of me felt like I was being inauthentic by not sharing the fact that I am looking for a job when I talk so much about entrepreneurship. But again, entrepreneurship looks different for many people, for different seasons, for whatever it looks like for you. I want yourself to feel seen in it. And so if you're in a space where you maybe tried going out on your own and had to reset and get something different, it's not a failure. You're not bad at this. It just can be part of the process and in whatever season that is. So I hope this was helpful. Yeah, I will take you on this journey and I'm excited to share that journey with you. So until next time, remember that big dreams and small steps will transform your life.